This session, we're talking energy vampires. You know, the people that you're around who kind of make you feel totally drained and kind of ugh after you leave their presence. We all know one. We might be related to one. We might have dated one. We might have even been one at some point in our lives. And that's what we're going to get into this session. We're going to talk how to spot them, the characteristics, and what you can do to kind of get yourself a little bit better and set some boundaries, or maybe just eliminate them entirely from your life. So let's get to it. I'm Donna. I'm a nurse and I'm an artist from New York City. And if you want to learn more about me, or if you want to sign up for my newsletter, all the information for that is below. You can go to my website. But let's talk about the reason why we are here, which is energy vampires. And we're going to go through it today. We're going to talk about it all because this is kind of one of the things that has helped me the most in my adult life, is being able to first figure out what the heck energy vampires are, and not thinking that like I'm nuts when I'm like, oh, after hanging out with this person, I kind of feel like crap, or I kind of feel down, or why do I feel gross? When I went to the party, I felt excited and happy, and now I just feel like, ugh, and I'm all in my head and I have a bunch of anxiety, and ever since I talked to that person, this happened. So we're going to talk about this, how you can even figure out if this is like a thing that's going on for you in your life. But let's talk about what energy vampires are first, so you can figure out what's up. Just a quick reminder that this channel is supported through the Donna Shop. We have planners, the vision board, master course, brainstorm, as well as other items that I've created to kind of help you through your self-care journey, develop routines and rituals that lead to an overall wellness plan for your life. So if you want to support the Donnas, you can do that. Otherwise, you can do that through liking this video, subscribing to this channel, and hitting the notification bell. Let's get back to what we're talking about, shall we? So we all have that one friend, the one who after we go out with, who after we hang out with, I mean, honestly, we feel like crap. They drain us. They dump truck on us. They dump truck their problems. They may have the same problems for the same 3 years and they haven't done anything about them. Every relationship they're in, they're getting cheated on, or there's problems, or they never have money, but they also don't have a job and they're not looking for a job and they're not looking to better themselves. And they're constantly just like dumping on you and looking for you to kind of be the answer, or not being happy for you when things are going on in your life, or you're achieving things, or you're trying to make things happen, or you're trying to get better. They're kind of people who like pop the balloon on other people's joy. And a lot of the times they're like a Debbie Downer. The other thing is, a lot of the times they don't even know they're doing this. They don't even know they're like this. And that's one of the classic things with energy vampires. They're usually not self-aware. They usually don't have introspection. They're usually not doing the work or doing a lot of the self-help and the improvement stuff that a lot of the people who are unfortunately impacted by energy vampires feel. Though on the other side of this, and the flip side, there are people who are very much aware that they're energy vampires. You got the manipulators, you got the sociopaths, you have the people with personality disorders, the narcissists, and these people kind of thrive off of power and manipulating others and kind of pushing other people into low vibrational areas and energies, and that's where they kind of draw their source from, or their power from. And honestly, those are the people you got to watch out for more, because they're aware that they're doing it, and they're probably the worst for your mental and your physical health. Energy vampires show up everywhere. They show up in your family, parents, a lot of the times, siblings. They show up at work. Like, work is the #1 place where energy vampires are. So many people at work just dump truck and gossip is one of the biggest things that is going to bring you into a low vibrational state like that. It's really gonna just bring you down. So if people are gossiping, try to walk away, try to get busy, do something else, keep yourself preoccupied, and don't get involved in it, because work is like one of the #1 places where energy vampires are. The other places they show up, relationships, a lot of the times, significant others, close personal relationships, and even in ourselves. There's a good chance that at some point or another, you might have exhibited some signs of an energy vampire, which is totally okay, as long as you're working on it and you're trying not to be like that. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you're watching this video. You can change it, and you can kind of shift, and you can change the vibe. The other thing that you have to remember is sometimes people are just going through something, and they're going through a rough time, especially if it's somebody who's close to you, a friend, a significant other, family member, sibling, and especially if you're in a close personal relationship. Like, I'm married. My husband and I aren't always going to be in the same vibe or on the same vibrational terms. He may be having a really, really great day, and I may be having a really, really terrible day. And the thing is, we got to show up for each other, right? Like, there's a lot of times that I'm sure he probably comes home and he's super excited to tell me about something, and I've had a really, really bad day at the hospital, and I'm just kind of like not on the receiving end of that, or not matching his energy. Again, there's going to be days like that. There's going to be give and take, especially in close personal relationships. The thing is though, that if it's a lot of give, and take, and it's all one-sided, that's not good. And if it's constant or if it's for long periods of time, then you got to reevaluate it, then you got to look at it. But again, in close personal relationships, there's going to be times where another person maybe has to pull a little bit more of the emotional weight or hold a little bit more space for the other person, and that's totally normal. So again, you kind of can't just be like, oh, you're an energy vampire because you're having a bad day, because everything's going wrong at work, or maybe you just got fired from your job and you're down and sad about it and you got to hold space for your friend or your partner. It's when this stuff happens constantly over long periods of time and it's starting to have an impact on your mental health, your physical health, your anxiety, and just how you're feeling. That's when you got to really do something about it. Energy zapping is a big component of this. And a lot of times people feel energy zapping when they go into big crowds. Big place for this, concerts. Why? Because a lot of people are there, they're showing up with the anticipation of, hey, I want to have an amazing time. Like they already have that in their head. People who are trying to make a night the best night ever, or people who are trying to go out and look for a significant other or look for a hookup. It's a lot of desperate energy. It's a lot of low vibrational energy. It's a lot of insecurity. There's also sometimes a lot of drinking and drugs and things like that, which also kind of expand us and bring us into a lot of low vibrational, which if you're empathic and you're sensitive to that, you're going to feel it. So if you leave a big event like a concert or a party or a club and you're kind of feeling drained and you're feeling anxious, especially if you do things like drinking or drugs and that zaps your energy, that's energy vampire territory. That's normal. And so if you're feeling like that, you have to kind of start to adjust and change the behaviors, change your behaviors, or figure out how you're going to ground and be a little bit more secure and kind of a little bit more aware before you go into these situations. Energy vampires also show up in close personal friendships, like I said before. So a lot of times you'll feel it after a one-on-one conversation with somebody, or like I talked about at the beginning of this video, after you go out with someone, or maybe when you're hanging out with a group of people, you're having a great time and you're having a vibe, and then somebody else shows up who kind of always brings the drama with them. Somebody who's always having issues with their significant other, who maybe is kind of like a loose cannon and they kind of act a little, I don't know, out of pocket, and maybe they embarrass the group, or maybe they like to pick fights with people when they're out, or be loud and be rambunctious and drink too much, or behaviors that are not like what you would normally like. And that kind of causes a lot of people to be on edge, or, kind of what's she gonna do? How's she gonna act tonight? Is she gonna drink too much tonight? Is she gonna bring the drama tonight? And that kind of ends up, causing you to really have your energy depleted. It also happens, you'll feel it a lot of times after you have a conversation with someone or you hang out with them and you just kind of feel like, oh wow, all they did was talk. I didn't get a word in. They didn't even ask me about myself. They just kind of drained me. They just told me about all of their problems and dumped it all on me like I'm a therapist. And it's I'm not. And I don't have any professional experience in this. And I shouldn't be helping her solve her problems. So a lot of times you feel it in conversations like that, especially with close one-on-one stuff. But again, it can happen in big groups. It can happen one-on-one. It can happen anywhere. And again, a lot of these people don't even know they're like this because they're not introspective and they're not self-aware. So they don't even know they're doing this to you, but you know they're doing it. And we're going to do something about it. And then you got the ones who know they're doing it, who are the worst, and they're feeding off of your love, your compassion, your kindness, and the fact that you're constantly giving because they're constantly taking. And then the moment you're kind of yo, what's up here? I'm always the one doing it. I'm always the one showing up. I'm always arriving for you and, helping you out, giving you a ride, helping you move, showing up for you. But then the moment that I need something, I can't even find you. You don't even text me back. You're constantly ghosting me. When you kind of bring it up, then they usually make you feel guilty about it or make you kind of seem like you're crazy and gaslight you. And those are usually the ones who know that they're doing it. A lot of the times they love bomb you, show you a ton of affection, show you a ton of attention, and then they kind of pull it and they also ghost. So as much as they're love bombing you, they're also kind of ghosting you as well, and then you can never find them. And they're kind of putting you in this cycle of playing with your emotions and bringing you to emotional extremes and making you kind of feel like you're going nuts. 100% signs of an energy vampire. So what are some of the other characteristics of energy vampires? I made a whole list, so I got to kind of glance at it. One, they don't think anything is wrong with them. They think it's everybody else but them. They usually take so much more than they give because, again, it feeds them and it fuels them. Like we talked about, in healthy relationships, there's a give and take, but with these people, it's just take. And you're usually doing a lot of the emotional labor for them. These people usually don't do any spiritual work. They don't do anything like meditation. They don't have any type of self-awareness. They're not doing any type of introspection. They're not going to therapy. They really don't care about the greater good. They care about themselves. It's mostly what is the only thing they're caring about. They're usually not grounded, and they usually pull their self-confidence confidence from other people. That's a big thing. They constantly have to be like the loudest person in the room, or the conversation has to be centered around them, or they always have to be right. They usually want all the attention, that's going on. And if the conversation, say, steers away from something that they know or something that they're well versed in, they'll bring it right back and bring it back to them and bring the attention back to them. They usually don't ask a lot of questions. They don't really care about you. They really don't care to get to know you. It's usually all about them. A lot of times there's always something wrong. So whenever you talk to them, or whenever you see them, or whenever you want to catch up, usually there's something like always wrong. It's never like, wow, my life's amazing. I'm so glad to be alive. I can't believe I woke up today and took a breath. I am so lucky. It's usually a laundry list of things about why everything is terrible. But there's always drama. They know how to bring the drama. They know how to attract the drama. That's kind of like their vibe. The drama finds them no matter what, and they usually never take ownership over any of it. Usually nothing is their fault. Even if the evidence is there and you got the receipts backing up a mile as to why the situation falls on them, they will 100% be defensive and kind of like make you seem like you're the one who's crazy. You're the one who is making a big deal out of something that you shouldn't be. These are people who will hold on to grudges from like third grade. And I'm not talking like for real deal stuff where someone really kind of like violated their boundaries or did something traumatic to them. I'm talking because of the fact that maybe like somebody didn't invite them to their like third grade bowling party. They're 35 years old and they're still holding on to this grudge and like can't stand that person for it. Or because maybe they wore a nice outfit one time and nobody noticed, and maybe they complimented everybody else in the room on something but didn't compliment them. They're still like holding on to that one little thing and they can't let it go. When I say that they're like not taking ownership over anything, this is what I mean. Perfect example. Say you have that one friend who's single, right? They're like super single. They're not doing anything about the fact that they're single, but all they want to do is complain that they're single, they're going to die alone, they're going to live alone for the rest of their life, and they're never going to meet anybody, and they can't even keep a plant alive. But at the same time, this person's not going out, they're not trying to meet people, they're not on any dating apps. Every time you invite them out or invite them to a party or someplace where you know people are going to be that they could meet, they tell you no. It's like, well, you never leave your house. You're right. You're never going to meet anybody. That's what I mean about like not taking ownership or trying to like change the situation they're in, but they're just like constantly complaining about it. And you're kind of like, yeah, like you're right, because you're not doing anything to change this when you have a lot of the power to change it. That's what I mean about that. The energy vampires can also be like a little too touchy-feely sometimes. And a lot of times they like pull their energy off of like close personal contact, especially sex. And a lot of the times energy vampires are cheaters. It's a lot of infidelity with them because they get their power off of other people. And a huge power source for a lot of people is intimacy and sexual relationships. So yes, a lot of the times energy vampires are cheaters because they're pulling their self-confidence and they're pulling their self-worth from just being liked or feeling attractive or kind of feeling like everybody wants them. And just be aware of that, because a huge energy suck is sex. Sexual promiscuity, cheating, infidelity, and pulling your power and getting your kind of rush and all of your energy from the attention, affection, and sexual gratification and satisfaction from others is someone who can be an energy vampire. And you kind of got to face that. Cheating gives them power. And a lot of the times when they get caught, they flip it and blame it on you and gaslight you and make you kind of feel nuts or like it's your fault. And again, that's them pulling your energy. And those are the manipulative ones. And those are the ones who kind of know what they're doing. And those are the ones who usually have an array of kind of like baggage and traumas and red flags and psychological and mental health stuff going on. These are all people who prey on your energy, who prey on your mental health and pull it from you. You got to watch out for this. How do you figure out if this is happening to you? Well, you got to take the temperature, right? Not like with a thermometer. You got to kind of like sit with yourself, assess, and do kind of like a little analysis of you. Do you feel drained after you hang out with a certain person? Did you feel drained after you went to that concert or that big event or after you entered that big room of people? Were you in this conversation with someone really vibing really, really well, having a good time, and then let's say Jessica showed up, the whole vibe changed because she came in and kind of like dump trucked and just kind of like unloaded all of her stuff on you? Do you feel good when you hang out with one group of friends versus another group of friends? Do you feel good when you hang out with certain people in your friendship circle, but then maybe you got like a wild card in there who kind of always ruins it or kind of, you know, just comes with the drama? Again, you got the people who are known for the drama. You got to look at like physical symptoms too. Do you have a headache? Do you kind of feel nauseous? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel tired? A lot of times, like after I've kind of been like energy zapped with an energy vampire, I'll feel kind of like drunk or like super, super tired, like after I I worked out and kind of like really, really drained, but not with that like good feeling of working out. More like my muscles feel tired, I feel tired, kind of like I had too many glasses of wine. Sometimes like your self-confidence will get zapped and you'll feel like in your head and you'll be asking yourself like a lot of questions. Maybe you went to the party feeling like great and on top of the world. And you're like, man, I got a great outfit. I look good. My makeup on point tonight. And then after being there for a while or coming home, you're kind of like in your head and I don't know, is this a good outfit? Do I look good? I don't know, like you're kind of like questioning yourself and like not feeling like on top of your game. And again, is that coming from you or is that coming from someone else? Is that coming from someone like dumping their insecurities on you? You got to ask yourself that. Are you questioning yourself and kind of like replaying conversations and repeating the conversations? Again, we kind of all do this once in a while, especially like when we're dating someone or we met somebody new. We're like, oh, and then he said that. And then I said this. Yeah, I should have said that. Again, that stuff's normal. But if you're like not able to sleep after going out at night because you hung out with somebody and all you're doing is replaying the conversation over and over again, and it's swirling around like a tornado in your head, or it's got you feeling not great, and it's keeping you up at night, and it's kind of intrusive in your dreams or in your thoughts, that's not good. That is someone who's like not good for your mental health and isn't making you feel your best after being with them. You kind of have to like do an internal audit and kind of check in with you and kind of like scan your body and your mind and kind of see what's going on. They don't ever take accountability. They're never happy for anyone. You can have amazing things going on in your life and they'll never like celebrate you. They kind of like to throw a dagger at people's wins and kind of like burst people's bubbles. And a lot of times these people like show no interest in you. A lot of times they give you ultimatum and they blame everybody else. They blame you for their problems or not understanding them or not being able to help them when like you're not in the capacity to help them. Like you're not a mental health expert. There is no way that you should be sifting through someone's problems and being the problem solver or saving the day for them. So for me, a lot of the times after I've been around an energy vampire, I get like a terrible headache. I get an awful migraine. And a lot of the times in the beginning, before I knew how to like recognize this stuff and deal with it, I would get so anxious and I would kind of feel like not in my body, or a little bit like that drunk feeling I was talking about before, but more like not so alert. So a great example I can give is I would be maybe like going across the street in New York City and I would kind of be like, whoa, you're crossing the street, you got to pay attention. When I'm crossing the street, I'm totally on and I'm totally aware and like I'm in tune, just not being aware of my surroundings, kind of like I'm a bystander to my own life. And that was happening a lot. And that was happening to me specifically after hanging out with certain people. And I had to like learn how to like deal with this and set boundaries and kind of identify this and figure out what to do, which is like what we're gonna like talk about. But yeah, I get too dumbed down and not like calm, because there's a difference between calm and being at ease and being open and having my guard down around people because I feel comfortable, versus feeling like dumbed down and not like on my game. And I would feel like not on my game, and that would bother me a lot. A lot of times people will feel like depressed or anxious. They'll have mood swings after hanging out with energy vampires. They'll be overthinking. They'll get maybe stomach aches, or they'll have like racing thoughts. And one of the other big signs specifically for me would be I would procrastinate. I wouldn't be able to know how to like start something. Like the next day I would kind of be like, wait, I have all this stuff to do, but why can't I figure out how to like get to it? Or why can't I figure out how to like do the things on my to-do list or check them off? Like time would go by too fast, if that makes sense. Not in a good way. Like I'd be like, wow, it's 3 o'clock already. I didn't do anything today. Because I kind of would be not on my game or like not really in my body because I was getting ungrounded from it. So I had to like figure out how to fix this. And one of the biggest things that I had to do was recognize it, right? And that's probably why you're here and watching this video. But I also had to learn how to set boundaries with people and with myself. I had to do it. And sometimes if you got to drop somebody to protect your mental health, like you got to do that. And I've had to like walk away from a lot of people because they've just been very toxic and they've been big energy vampires to me, and they just haven't been good. It's just been too much drama and too much negativity, and they just don't want to get better and they don't want to better themselves, even after I've like offered a helping hand or other friends have. And if you need to drop it, you need to drop it, because you need to move on with your life and you need to not put yourself in situations that aren't going to be good for you. If they are your friends and you really do love them, again, if they don't even know they're doing this, you can call them out on it. Call them out compassionately and have some etiquette when you do it. If they're being a Debbie Downer, be like, hey, you kind of like make the vibes like kind of suck whenever you're around. You're always complaining. It's always something. Like, what's going on with you? If they're trying to like bust your balloon, call them out on it. Tell them, hey, I'm really happy for myself right now. Maybe this doesn't seem like a big thing to you, but I worked really, really hard on this. And this was something that I really had to work on the last couple of months, or I had to put a lot of effort in, or a lot of my time, and I'm really happy for it. So if you can't see that, cool, but this is something I'm proud of and I'm gonna celebrate. I see it happen a lot with me because I have like a ton of ideas and a lot of like projects and things I wanna work on. And again, I'm an artist, and a lot of my friends are in medicine and science, and like they don't get like me wanting to go out and take photos of people and interview people and, you know, do some of the things that I do, but it lights me up and it makes me feel good, but they don't understand it. So you got to kind of like figure out who you can talk to about these things and where you can share this stuff. Or if you're going to share it and it's not going to be received well, a lot of times for me, I'll kind of say like, hey, I'm going to go do this project, or I'm going to do this photo thing.
And a lot of my friends will be like, well, why are you going to do that? Where are you going to put it? Are you going to put it online? Are you going to get paid to do it?
And that questioning, they don't mean to kind of energy zap me or kind of bust my bubble or kind of shoot down my balloon and my happiness, but a lot of the times they are. And so like I've had to learn to kind of be like, hey, I know you don't get it, but I like to do photography and it doesn't have to make sense to me because it's making me feel good. Or could you not ask me all these questions and kind of put this like self-doubt in my mind because you don't get it, because it's only gonna maybe not make me excited about the project or kind of make me self-sabotage, and I want to go try this, and yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense and I don't have it all figured out, but it's something I want to try and I want to do. So again, you kind of got to like learn how to set the boundary and learn how to kind of like shut it down while it's happening. Or ask them, can you just keep it a little bit more positive the next time we talk about this? Because again, I don't want to like get in my head about it. Or just say, I don't want to talk about this right now. If they talk about work all the time, for instance, maybe make a boundary and say, hey, could we not talk about work tonight? Could we talk about you? Could we talk about what's going on? Let's have fun. Let's forget about work. Let's forget about the stress. Start setting those boundaries. And again, if these are friends who like you're really super close with, remind yourself why you're friends with them. If they're your parent, remind yourself, hey, this is my parent, and kind of look at their traumas and the things that may make them the reason for how they're acting, or the fact that maybe they've never went to therapy or done any of the work on themselves, and maybe they're not self-aware of this. I'm not telling you to make excuses, and I'm not telling you to pacify or, you know, kind of not care about how they're treating you or the fact that they're an energy vampire, but going in, you should kind of know that what's going on is a reflection of them and has nothing to do with you. Again, if this is like a parent and someone who's going to be like this all the time, if you're not going to cut them out, you're not going to not talk to them anymore, you have to be able to kind of gauge your reactions to them and figure out how you're going to walk into the situation so you're prepared for them kind of trying to go after your energy, whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously. You also need to ground and kind of get yourself ready. And I'm going to have like a grounding meditation on this channel next week for people who want to kind of figure out how to ground and get ready for situations that they're going to go into where they know there's energy vampires. But you may want to be indifferent to the situation, or kind of be a little bit more introspective and ask yourself, why am I attracting these people? Do I need better connections in my life? How can I improve this? How can I let this not bother me? How can I be indifferent to this? Or do I maybe need to remove myself from the situation entirely? You can also use your own energy against them, which is another thing where you can look for the positive and stuff. Like for instance, say someone says to you, oh, last weekend it rained and it ruined my whole weekend and I didn't get to go out and I had all these plans, right? Again, kind of like bringing you into that low vibrational, you can look at them and say, yeah, I had to cancel my plans too, but I ended up being able to get all this stuff done. I was able to clean my apartment and I got to do some self-care. And me and my husband, we watched a movie together on the couch. Kind of like push back with the positives instead of meeting them with that low vibrational and complaining and letting them pull your energy and kind of like take it from you and bringing you down to where they are. Try to find the positive in maybe why you stayed home that rainy weekend and the things that you got to do because it messed up your plans. Even if you don't feel like that 100% in the moment, do it to push back so they don't bring you down and they don't bring you down to their vibe. And again, people might not be an energy vampire forever. They might be going through something. So again, you got to be able to assess the situation, and you have to figure out if you want to stop going back to these situations, or if you're going to help them and try to hold space for them that isn't going to be mentally taxing to you or overwhelming to you. The other thing that you may want to do is you may want to ask yourself, if you're an energy vampire or where you're acting like an energy vampire in certain situations, are you a Debbie Downer? Are you too critical with certain people or in certain conversations or showing up in certain areas? Do you monopolize conversations? Are you not optimistic? Do you not set limits or allow people to set limits with you? Do you hang out with people and then have a great time and then ghost and not follow up? Or do you do this in your dating life? Or do you pop people's balloons and burst their bubbles when they have great information to share or they're excited about something? So again, these are questions you got to ask yourself too, because it goes both ways, and we do sometimes show up as an energy vampire. We might not even know it. So it's always good to kind of like check in and kind of see where you're doing it, because even though you might not do it with everybody in your life, there may be certain situations or certain close personal relationships where you do. Thanks for joining me. I hope you got a lot from this video. Please follow, like, subscribe, all the things. Leave comments down below. Tell me how energy vampires have shown up in your life. Tell me how you've gotten over them. If you have more recommendations and more ways to combat this, please do. And follow up for next week's video, where I'm going to be sharing a meditation that will help you deal with energy vampires. It's the same meditation I use for myself and that I've used with a lot of people in some of the group workshops that we've done. So yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, follow, like, subscribe, and I will see you on the other side. Bye, guys.